Hi guys, thanks for tuning into my channel today. Today I decided I might take the C5 out for on a bit of a run, and it's been a couple of weeks now since I've been on a C5, and I was looking at it out the back there and it had a few cobwebs and stuff like that on it, so I thought I'd give it a clean up first, bring it out the front. We could take a bit of a look of it and have a quick look over the bike, and then after that I'll take it for a run and give you my impressions on what's it like to ride a C5 after being on the seat of a Interceptor for the last couple of weeks, and giving you my thoughts on that one. Now, on the off chance you don't know much about C5s, they come out in 2009, and this one's a 2018 model, so if you happen to go into a Royal Enfield dealership at the moment, this is the current model bike in gunmetal grey. So in Australia, if you step into an Enfield dealer, this bike will cost you $9,000, and if you look at my red Interceptor, and you can always go back on my site there and just check on different videos I've put up on the Interceptor, so there's a few there at the moment, so they're not hard to get. They retail for roughly $10,000, so there's $1,000 separating the bike. Now if you look at these, while we're at it, we'll just have a quick look at this Classic 500 before we head off. If you look at a 2009 model, the original one that came out, and a 2018 or 19 model, which are both the same at the moment, not much separates them apart from these few details I'm going to point out to you at the moment. So you have to really know these bikes to know what's going on, and I've had well over, I think I've had 12 C5s or something like that, or it could be more, over the past 6 years, so I've got a really good idea on these bikes. And if you feel like subscribing and want to know much about C5s, I'm going to put up quite a few videos shortly on all aspects of running the bikes in, exhaust systems, you know, all stuff related to a Classic 500, and if you decide you ever want one or you want to know how to improve them or stuff like that, it'd be well worth your trouble to subscribe. So if you're looking at a C5 from the start and put a 2009 against this bike, most people would say they both look the same, but in theory they're nowhere near the same, and you really have to have a good eye for detail or know the bike to exactly pick out the difference. So for a start, looking at the front fork, on the later model bikes they've got a straight front fork. The early model has the offset. Also the later bikes run a 19-inch front wheel compared to these now run the 19, and early models run 18 front and rear. Your very first model had no kickstart, where this one has a kickstart. These newer models have got a more bulby type tank on it, really nice looking tank style. Instrumentation's almost virtually the same, except this one runs ABS light. Late 2017 onward, we get the new swing arm, which is really good because the other one had snail adjusters for doing the chain, which was a real pain. This is really good with the new swing arm. That was a really big improvement with these bikes. The best improvement, rear disc with ABS. This is a Euro 4 compliance bike. In my opinion, this is the best running bike of all the C5s. So when I get on this bike, I'll be running what I think is the Classic 500, the best one they made, against the 650 Interceptor, which to date is the best Royal Enfield made in the twins. So it'll be an interesting ride, and like I said, I haven't been on this bike for well over 2 weeks, and it's only more of a fun comparison, and it'll be just interesting to see what goes on that line. So I'll just gear up and get ready, and we'll take this one for a run and see how it goes, and I'll just give me an opinion on what's it like to ride a 500 single after 2 weeks after being on that twin which does everything goes so well. So stay tuned and thanks for watching. Visor down, just a bit, almost just went to put my foot down there and missed the pegs. These pegs are forward, so we'll try again. Okay, we got the pegs, or the foot on the right part of the peg. This C5 is more of a different riding position, so better remember that. So off we go. Just like getting back on a horse. Okay, the first thing I notice is actually the first thing I notice is it's a bit vibey. That's the first thing I noticed, so you can feel the vibes running up on the bar straight off. Second thing I noticed, you can tell it's a little bit down on power. But apart from that, well, yeah, I think I think it's something you can just go back to and get accustomed to. It swings around this corner alright, this lefty. The motor was dead cold, so you can feel a bit of I can feel a bit of surging running through the bike. So the fueling on this bike, yeah, you can feel it shaking now from the cold start. The fueling on this bike's nowhere near as good as what's on the Interceptor. You feel it jerking along there now. But you know, the fueling system, even on this Euro 4 model's the best available for a C5. Just, that was a big advantage on the Interceptor. The first thing I noticed from the scratch was how good the fueling was. I think we'll go for a run out along the road and just see what it's like out there. You gotta get through that truck. You can still swing this one around the bends good. The gearbox is really more primitive. By that I mean sort of agricultural, clunky, whatever you'd like to say. I'll bring her up to a 50-mile-an-hour cruise. We're sitting on 50 now. What do I notice at 50 mile an hour? Feel a bit of vibe in the pegs. Mirrors are okay, I can see out them alright. Yeah, I think things are not bad. There's no denying, I feel like I'm on the bike. Not only that, I feel most bumps that I'm coming along here too, so that's another indication I am on the bike. There's no way, I can sort of tell now, there's no way this bike could handle an Interceptor. These run well, but they wouldn't out-handle it, they wouldn't out-brake one. You know, you would sort of kid yourself if they'd run anywhere near an Interceptor in any way, but so I think in one way you would have to say yourself it's a pointless ride, but in another way you've got to say these are fun bikes to ride, and they are sort of enjoyable to ride, you know, if you look at what they are. 500 cc's, 27 horsepower. You feel like you're riding a 1950 model motorcycle in 2019 with fuel injection, so, you know, like, how can you lose on that? This is not a bad bike, but it's fairly smooth now once I get up onto bike's warmed up a little bit since back there, and I think later on when I play that sportsy course on it, this thing will really bang. So you know, like, I don't know, I suppose another cyclist, he's out on a ride. So I think if you were saying to yourself, if you were going to buy one bike, an Interceptor or a Classic 500, which one would you buy? If you just wanted one to go around town now and just go down to the coffee shop, or just a little burst like I'm doing out on the road now, Classic's still pretty hard to beat. If you wanted one where you wanted to do some long distance running, there's no comparison. That Interceptor is the bike. It'll really chew up the miles, and that's a bike you want. You know what, this bike, it's not a long distance runner, but it is a fun bike. Now I'll just run her up. I'm sitting on 80, so I'll run her up to the 100. See, this really does run nice. Sitting on 100 k's now, 60 mile an hour, and it's doing it easy. See, the UO4 bike is a really nice bike to ride in power. Wait till I hit it with that sports exhaust. Even vibe wise, it smooths itself out now. It's not as bad as what it was back there. Actually, it's not a bad day for a ride, and any day's a good ride in an Enfield. Look at that, it runs along nice and easy at 100 kilometres an hour. Although there's a bit of difference on a Classic 500 at 100 kilometres an hour. Once you get over to 110, 120, they're struggling a bit after that, and the vibes are running up pretty high. So, but on that Interceptor at 100, just playing with it. It's a serious mile eater, that Interceptor. It does everything so well. I said it in one of the other videos that Royal Enfield has done an exceptional good job on that Interceptor. The Interceptor should have been made 10 years ago, not now. For those that watched my previous video, it was just around about here that Woolly Jumper jumped out, somewhere just here. Gee, that was a close call. That was very close to having that bike rode off in 60 kilometres. It was close. I would say within a foot. I've been riding this road now for 6 years, and that's the closest I've come to hitting anything on the road. If I would have been on this bike, I would have missed it totally, because it's slow. But the Interceptor's quicker, and I got up the hill a bit quicker, and that was the reason I come across that jumper. But as the story goes, can you have fun on 27 horsepower? I think you can. I think as long as you can climb on a motorcycle, you can have fun on anything. Would I want anything with 140 horsepower? No. The only thing around where I live, the roads are so rough and they bounce you around a bit, and you can see them along here. This is a really rough road. You can't go much on the other roads. There's a lot of traffic on it for a slow bike, a lot of coppers. You know, they've got problems everywhere. But this bike has had a fairly easy run in, and it's got a bit of go behind it. You know, for the 500 horsepower, 500 cc's. Not a bad bike at all. I think anyone that goes out and buys itself an Enfield, whether it's a classic 500, Interceptor, Himalayan. The other day I said I would never have a Himalayan, but I don't know. One day I might have a crack at one. You know, you never know with these sort of things. Everyone says they're not going to buy this or they're not going to buy that, but you know, circumstances change, and one day you say you're not going to buy something, and I always once said I wouldn't buy a Lotus Elise, but I bought one day, so what's the difference? So I remember going to Bathurst one day and walking up to a Lotus and saying, oh, I wouldn't fit in one, and walked away from it when I was talking to the guy, and then 3 years later I bought one. So you know, when you say you'll never buy this or you never buy that, well, you know, sometimes you romance with yourself, but that's the way it goes. I tell you what, I haven't been on this bike for 2 weeks, but or a bit over, but this is bike bloody, it really, apart from the rough ride, it really runs well. But I think the rough riding, I think the reason is it could do with a front fork oil change in it. Just because you buy these bikes new off Enfield doesn't mean they put them together properly. I always think that a lot of these Enfields, you know, you buy the bikes and start fixing them from scratch. Maybe not with the Interceptor, it could be a totally different ball game, but with these classic 500s you buy them and then start fixing them. And I think this needs a couple of things doing with this bike. I would say a front fork bleed, what else have they planned up? Clutch adjustment it needs now. And I would say the ABS braking system could work a bit better than what it does, and I think it could need a brake fluid bleed. But apart from that, you know, it's not bad. But this road's but apart from that, it goes really well. Look at that swing there through here. Like I said, you can be happy with 27 horsepower. You've got the roads, and look, swinging through these bends. Yeah, baby. Not bad at all. Not bad. I don't think I'll go any further. This will call it quits here. The only thing about these Enfield motors, they're rattly ones. Although this one's not as bad as in the lifters as some of the previous ones I've had. I've actually put sports exhaust on some of the earlier models, or not earlier models, some of the newer models earlier than this, because I didn't want to hear the lifter rattle. So this one's pretty quiet in that area, because I'm only running the standard exhaust, and when you open these up and put the sports exhaust on them, apart from the bang, they really perform well. As far as K&N filters or stuff like that, no, they're a waste of money. They never work very good on these, on the standard exhaust. They're just wasted $100. I had one of those a while back and tried it, used it for 3 years, never did any good, and cashed it. Not worth the trouble putting on it. Might be good with a power commander, but not with one of these. When you come up onto these hills like this is where you need the use the gears on it. When I had the Interceptor out here, it pulled all these hills, just no trouble at all, but here you've got to go back into fourth and run over it. But the Interceptor just ran straight over these. But so, you know, back to the Interceptor, when you're coming along here, if you were running this one here, running the gears, you know, this is this bike's got more like an industrial gearbox, and you know, a more type clunky gearbox, like more agricultural. Like everything about your Interceptor's really nice gearbox, beautiful clutch, nice ride, good handling. You know, you just can't get on there, and this one's running out of puff up here now. You've got to work it a bit more. But if I had the sports exhaust on it, it'd pull this in the top gear no trouble along here, because they breathe better. And it can get over it quite well. And to get me that bit of extra power, I only have to pay, well, I've already got it, but I only have to pay $90. Yeah, so I hope if you've been watching this, you found this a little bit entertaining, this little bit. So the transition back from 650 over to 500 wasn't too bad. I'm sort of used to it now. The major difference was just the foot peak position straight off. This one I'm sort of more of a sit up and peak position, you could say, and where the Interceptor, they're sitting right below me, and I sort of miss those peaks almost straight up. The next thing I would be noticing is the difference is it's more of a harder ride on the C5. But like I said, that could be it's definitely more hard to ride after I bounced over that bridge. But I did come out on the Interceptor a few times on this road here. Haven't been out since that Roo incident. The brakes on this one, I think they're two different manufacturers that make the brakes. Like, see, this is running out of puff. And this is what I mean, coming up this hill that day when I had the Roo incident. I'm back to forth now. I was just running up here on the other one, and on the Interceptor, and when that Roo came out and I was in top gear 6. I think if you had to sum up the classic 500, I think one word would be character. That'd be the best way to put it. But they've definitely got character, or charm, that'd be another word. Oh, world charm. They've got that. I don't think I'll ever get rid of it. I might ever get, I may get rid of it and buy another one and upgrade or something like that, but you know, as far as that goes, I wouldn't get rid of one and say no, I don't think I'd have one again. I just like them too much. I've put some kilometres on them too. Sometimes I've I've run them, I think 350 kilometres in a day, which is a fair run for one of these in a day. I would think if you're on the Interceptor and you're going to take it for a run, and you like touring and riding bikes and stuff like that, I would say I don't think you'd have much trouble throwing a 500 kilometre run on an Interceptor. I think it'd do it easy. And I think it'd do it today, tomorrow, the next day, and it'd do it day after day. I think you could get in it or on it, and if you wanted to ride around Australia, you couldn't ride this around Australia. No, you could, but you'd need a backup of spare parts and stuff like that, and most likely a trailer, or maybe a high ace van you could cart and come along behind you, so that, you know, when if it broke down, you'd have somewhere to cart it. I think you'd be pushing your luck, as much as I hate to say it. But I think the Interceptor would be a lot better story, or a lot different story, and I tell you, up in Northern Territory, that Interceptor cruising along at 130. I think that'd be fun. This would be no good up there at 130 because you'd be shaking all over. Not only that, you'd be at your top speed, and you'd be wondering after a while how long your motor would be going for. But I'm just stating sort of facts with it, not turning anyone off. You just have to look at what you've got, ride to the conditions, and if you buy one of these bikes and ride it around 100 kilometres an hour and don't abuse it, you know, you can. I've had one of these and rode it 10,000 kilometres and enjoyed it, and they've run well, and bought another one and went from there. And when you buy one of these Enfields, and I'm talking about Classic 500, you buy them luck of the draw. One day you might get a good one and one day you don't. That's the way it goes. I think it depends on how well they assemble them on the day. But I do think the later model ones are assembled better than the early models. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this bit of a test ride and my thoughts on both bikes. And thanks for tuning in and watching the video, and catch up with you next time.